I'm Soni and I'm your trainer for this session today. Now by now we've talked about some parts of speech. We know what are nouns and pronouns. In our previous session we had talked about adjectives, right? And we had discussed what is the definition of an adjective and what are the different kinds of adjectives. Well, today we'll continue the session on adjectives and we'll discuss more about adjectives. So let's get started. Let me tell you about the objectives of today's session. First of all, I'll go ahead and along with you, we'll revise what we did in the previous session. We'll revise what do we mean by an adjective. We'll again do a recap of the kinds of adjectives. Then we move forward and today we'll discuss about the degrees of adjectives. There are 3 degrees as far as adjectives are concerned: the positive degree, the comparative degree, and the superlative degree. Once we complete with the degrees of adjective, we'll go ahead and do some exercises, because without practice, without testing what you've learned, you'll not become perfect. And then towards the end of the session, we'll do a brief recap of the entire session. So let's get started with adjectives. Now, what is an adjective? Try to remember, we had just done this session. It is the previous session we had discussed what is an adjective. I'll tell you. An adjective is a word that adds to the meaning of a noun. It adds to the meaning of a noun in the sense that it tells about the quality or a feature or the quantity of a noun. It is usually placed before a noun. For example, Sita is a beautiful girl. Now, Sita is a proper noun and girl is a common noun. So we've placed beautiful before girl, which tells us what kind of girl? A beautiful girl. So the word beautiful actually tells about the feature of the girl, a quality of the girl. So out here, the word beautiful is an adjective. Similarly, Ram is an honest man. What tells you more about Ram? That he is an honest man. So the word honest is again a quality of the man, and therefore honest is also an adjective. So today we'll go ahead and discuss about the degrees of adjectives. Adjectives have 3 degrees of comparison: the positive degree, the comparative degree, and the superlative degree. Let's talk about the positive degree. We use the positive degree of an adjective when we are not making any comparison. So this degree is used with one person or one thing only. That means the positive degree tells you about the quality or the feature of a single thing. There is no second thing involved. There is nothing else in picture. You're just talking about one person or one thing. Like you say, Sheila is a tall girl. You're not comparing Sheila with anyone. So in this way, you're just telling about Sheila. You're just describing Sheila, one person. So it's a positive degree when you tell about one person. Let's see some examples. I bought a new pen today. You're describing what kind of pen did you get. You bought a new one, a new pen. So the word new becomes an adjective of positive degree. It was a painful experience. What kind of experience was it? Painful. So painful becomes the positive degree adjective. Another example. The apples are really fresh. Now a very easy question. What kind of apples or what is the quality of the apples? They are fresh. So fresh here becomes the adjective. Now in the above sentences, new, painful, fresh, they are examples of adjectives and they are the adjectives of which degree? Yeah, we're talking about positive degree. Why they are positive degree adjectives? Because no comparison is involved. We are just talking about one thing, one item, one apple, a pen or the experience. We are not comparing them to any other item. Now let's move on to what do we mean by a comparative degree. We use the comparative degree of an adjective when we are comparing two persons or things. The word comparative itself suggests comparison. That means you're comparing. आप दो चीज़ों की तुलना कर रहे हो. कौन सी अच्छी है या कौन सी बुरी है. So you're actually comparing two things or two people or two places or two ideas, anything. But there is a comparison. Let's take some examples. I want to have a more powerful computer. This means you already have a computer, you're not satisfied with its performance and you want a computer which is more powerful than the existing one. So what are you doing? You are comparing. You're comparing your existing system with a system you want to buy. So where a comparison comes, the comparative adjective more powerful is used. Another example. Is French more difficult than English? Now, very simple sentence. French is being compared to English. Which one is more difficult? Comparison in picture. So, you use a comparative degree of adjective. More difficult. The adjective here is difficult. But because it is a comparative degree, so the word more has been added to it. Next. Chetan is taller than Sanjeev. You are comparing Chetan and Sanjeev. You are comparing their height. Who is taller? Chetan. So the word taller becomes the comparative adjective. Now there are some words with which you use more and there are some which you need not use more. For example, the word taller. Taller itself means a comparative degree. Whereas the word powerful, you'll have to use more powerful in order to show that it is a comparative degree. We'll discuss more examples of all the three degrees and then you'll get a good idea as to where to use more and where to use ER at the end of the word. Now in the above examples that we've just discussed, powerful, more difficult, taller, these are the words which are an example of comparative degree of an adjective. Good. So I hope that you've understood the positive and the comparative degree. Let's move on to the third and last type of degree, which is the superlative degree. We use the superlative degree of an adjective when we are comparing more than two people or things. That is, if you had seen when we were talking about the comparative degree, we compared Chetan with Sanjeev, or your current computer with a computer you want to buy. So how many people were involved? How many items were involved? Just two, Chetan and Sanjeev, no third person. This means in case of comparative degree, it was a comparison only between two objects, whereas in superlative degree, it is a comparison between more than two objects. Now some adjectives add ER and EST to form the comparative and superlative degrees. I just told you about this. In case of tall, if you want to form the comparative degree of tall, it becomes taller. You add an ER. In case of tall, to form a superlative degree, you add EST, tallest. So the three degrees of tall become tall, taller, tallest, right? But there are certain words where you cannot perform the same operation. You cannot add ER and EST, otherwise everything would be very simple. Like words like beautiful. Now, positive degree becomes beautiful. Comparative, will it become beautifuler? No, there is no word as beautifuler. So the comparative degree in case of beautiful becomes more beautiful, and the superlative will become most. So more and most are used instead of ER and EST. Adjectives that have two syllables and end in a Y. For example, early. Early, you can break up this word into two syllables. Early. Early. So there are two syllables in this word, plus this word ends with a Y. EARLY. The positive degree is early, comparative earlier, superlative earliest. Okay. Then in case of words ending with OW, like narrow, again the word is a two-syllabic word and it ends with OW. You can again go for the same rule, ER and EST. Narrow, narrower, narrowest. The same rule applies to words ending with LE. For example, gentle, GENTLE, gentle. Gentle, gentler, gentlest. Almost all other adjectives with two or more syllables require the use of more and most. Let me just revise this concept with you. In case of two-syllabic words which end with a Y, you use ER and EST. Same rule applies for words that end with OW and LE. For all other words, generally, we use more and most for comparative and superlative. Let's take some examples. Everest is the highest mountain in the world. Now this is an example of superlative adjective, highest. You're not comparing Everest with any other mountain. You're comparing Everest with all the mountains of the world. So the comparison is between more than two objects. That's why it becomes superlative. Another example, of all the runners, Rekha ran the fastest. Again, we are not comparing Rekha with her friend. We are comparing Rekha with all the people who were running, all the runners. So it becomes superlative, and we've added est to fast. So fastest becomes the superlative degree of the adjective. Next example. This is the smallest of the 3 stoppers. Now again, in this case, although we've told how many stoppers, but then again, the stoppers are more than 2. If there were just 2 stoppers, you would have used the word smaller. But because there are more than 2 stoppers, you use the word smallest, the superlative degree. Let's take some examples, and we'll discuss these examples by knowing all the 3 degrees of the adjective. First word, good. Now, is there a word as gooder, goodest? No. So good, positive, better becomes the comparative, and best becomes the superlative. So it is good, better, best. Strong. Strong, stronger, strongest. Next, big. Big, bigger, biggest. I hope you've heard all these words. Now, since you know how to use them, when to use bigger, when to use biggest, use them in sentences. So now you know that when there are 2 people in the picture, you need to use the comparative degree. And when there are more than 2, then you use the superlative degree. Let's discuss some more examples. Fast. What do you think is the comparative and superlative? Faster and fastest. Complex. The word is complex. Now, have you ever heard a word complexer, complexest? No. It is more complex and most complex. When you are comparing 2 problems, 2 mathematical problems, you say problem A is more complex than problem B. But if you think that problem A is the toughest out of all the problems, then you say problem A is the most complex problem in the exercise. So this is how you need to use the positive, comparative and superlative degrees. Another example, bad. Bad. It becomes worse and worst. W-O-R-S-E and W-O-R-S-T. This is how you need to form the different degrees. And plus, these examples are not enough. Try and find out some words and try and form the comparative and superlative degrees of those words as well. Let's now do a small exercise and we'll check how much we've understood the session. You need to fill in the blanks with the appropriate adjectives. I'll give you options. Select the best option. The first blank. Those are probably the dash books in the shop. Those are probably the dash books in the shop. The options you have are better, best, fine. Next. He is the dash boy in the class. He is the dash boy in the class. The options are tall, tallest, most tall. Next. She is the dash girl I've ever seen in my life. She is the dash girl I've ever seen in my life. The options are most beautiful, beautiful, more beautiful. Next, I bought a dash dress. I bought a dash dress. Your choices are newest, new, newer. Next, maths is the dash subject for me. Maths is the dash subject for me. Options: more difficult, difficult, most difficult. I hope you've done the exercise. In all the different sentences I read out, you had to use the right degree of adjective. So let's go ahead and discuss the exercise. Let's move on with the solutions. The first one, those are probably the dash books in the shop. Your options were better, best, fine. Now in this case, you are comparing a set of books with all the other books in the shop. That means it is a superlative comparison, and therefore it becomes a superlative degree. So the option you would choose is best, because best is a superlative degree of the adjective. Next, he is the dash boy in the class. Your options were tall, tallest, most tall. Now out of this, you are comparing one boy with all the other boys of the class. Again, it is a superlative degree. So the word would be tallest. Very good. You are understanding the concept it means. Next, she is the dash girl I've ever seen in my life. Most beautiful, beautiful, more beautiful. Now you're comparing this girl with all the other girls you've seen in your life. That's why you say she is the most beautiful. आज तक उससे ज़्यादा सुंदर आपने कोई नहीं देखी. So you've compared all the other girls you've seen in your life. One girl with so many girls. So she becomes most beautiful. Next, I bought a dash dress. Newest, new, newer. Now this is a simple sentence. There is no comparison. There is no other object or a group of objects with which you are comparing. You've just got a new dress. So the answer is new. Next, maths is the dash subject for me. More difficult, difficult, most difficult. Now the way you are saying it, maths is the dash subject for me. In a way, you're comparing maths with all the other subjects. So it becomes most difficult, comparing it with more than one. So this was the exercise in which we revised about the different degrees of an adjective. Let's discuss some more examples of the positive, comparative and superlative degrees. The word sweet. Sweet is the positive degree. What would be the comparative and superlative? Sweeter and sweetest. So sweet, sweeter, sweetest. Similarly, small. Small becomes, try and form the comparative and superlative degree. Small becomes small, smaller, smallest. We've added an ER for comparative and EST for superlative. Bold, B-O-L-D, bold, becomes bolder and boldest. Brave. You try this one. Try and form the comparative and superlative of brave. For comparative, add an ER, and for superlative, add an EST. Brave, braver, bravest. fine, fine, F-I-N-E, fine becomes fine, finer, finest. The word white, white. Again, it also becomes white, whiter, whitest. Large, large. What would large become? Large, larger, largest. When you compare two things, it is larger. If more than two, it is largest. Happy, happy. Let's do it in the form of a sentence. If I say, I'm very happy today, I'm not comparing myself to anyone. It's all about me. I am very happy. But if I say, I'm happier than my brother, that means I'm comparing myself to my brother. As compared to my brother, I am more happy. So it is, I am happier than my brother. Now if I say, I'm the happiest person in my family, that means compared to all the other members of my family, I'm the happiest. Sabse zyada khush. So the degrees for happy are happy, happier, happiest. Similarly, the degree for easy. Easy would become easy, easier, and easiest. Heavy. This is a heavy bag. Now if I have two bags and I want to compare them, this bag is heavier than that one. Now if I have around 10 bags and the one which is there with me is the heaviest, how do I say? This is the heaviest of all the bags. So it becomes heavy, heavier, heaviest. Similarly, merry, M-E-R-R-Y. Merry becomes merrier, merriest. Big. I think we've done this before, so you should be in a position to tell me. Big becomes bigger, biggest. Big, bigger, biggest. Hot. Hot, what will hot become? Right. Hot, hotter, hottest. Very good. Now, difficult. Difficult. Is there a word as difficulter or difficultest? No. So what do we do with difficult? We'll add a more and a most to it. So it becomes difficult, more difficult, most difficult. Similarly, the word industrious. It becomes industrious, more industrious, most industrious. Useful. Useful. This pen is very useful. I have just talked about this particular pen. Now if I compare, this pen is more useful than the one you have. That means I am comparing my pen with your pen. It is more useful. If I think that my pen is the best, then I'll say this pen is the most useful pen of all the others. Now I am comparing my pen with all the other pens present. So for useful it is useful, more useful, most useful. Similarly for boring, it's boring, more boring, most boring. Now what you need to do is, we'll do another exercise and let's check how much have you actually understood. So let's go ahead with another exercise. Now in this exercise, I'll give you a word and you need to write all the 3 degrees of that word. You need to mention the positive, the comparative and the superlative degree. So the first word is dark, D-A-R-K. Quickly write down the comparative, superlative. Next, peaceful, peaceful. Next, free, free. Next, fresh, next, high, high, H-I-G-H. Next, gentle, gentle. Next, direct, direct. Next, new, new. Next one, painful, painful. And the last one is humorous, humorous. Write down the comparative and the superlative degree of all the words I have given you. Let's start with the first word, dark. Dark will become darker, darkest. Next, peaceful. Now, peaceful will not become peacefuller and peacefulest. It becomes more peaceful and most peaceful. Free. Free also becomes more free and most free, because freer is no word. Next one, fresh. Fresh would become fresher, freshest. Next was high. A very easy one. High becomes higher and highest. Next one is gentle. I think I've already discussed this one. So all of you need to get this one right. It becomes gentler and gentlest. Next, direct. Direct will become more direct, most direct. Next is new, N-E-W, which becomes newer and newest. Next, painful. Now again, painful, there is no word as painfuller or painfulest. It becomes more painful and most painful. Good. Next one, humorous. Now you tell me, is there a word as humourouser? No, there is no such word. So humorous would just become more humorous and most humorous. Did you get all the words correct? No? Not a problem. What you need to do is practice more and do a thorough revision of whatever we've done. Let's do a brief recap of what we did today. We discussed about what we had done in the previous session. Then we talked about the degrees of adjectives. There are 3 degrees of an adjective: positive, comparative, superlative. Now, positive degree is used when you are talking about a single thing. Okay, that is the time when you use positive degree. For example, Ram is a tall boy. You just compared Ram with no one. You're just talking about Ram. He is a tall boy. But when you start comparing Ram, then the comparative degree comes into existence. If you compare Ram with Mahesh, you say Ram is taller than Mahesh. It is a comparative degree. But if you start comparing Ram with more than one person, maybe you're comparing him with all the boys in his class, then it becomes a superlative degree. Ram is the tallest boy in the class. So this is what we mean by a positive, a comparative, and a superlative degree. We also studied a lot of examples and did some exercises. So go home, go through the exercises again, and now you should be in a position to make out what is a positive degree, how to form the comparative and superlative degree, and how to use them while talking to people. So until then, happy learning, revise a lot, practice hard, and bye-bye.